Alright guys, so if you haven't already noticed, I removed my Comodo Internet Security 8 beta from my channel. Now the reason I did this is the test was basically botched. It was brought to my attention that it was not sandboxing any applications whatsoever. Now I did notice that, but I thought it was a beta. I noticed it categorized things as unknown, so I figured maybe it was just a bug. Well, I still think it's a bug, and here's why. Because I'm testing it in a virtual environment, that is the main problem. Comodo in this version has introduced what's called hardware virtualization support, for those of you who don't know what that is. Basically, what that does is it lets the program access your CPU's virtualization capabilities and runs the program in that, which will deal with that kind of stuff much better than, let's say, running it through your CPU and that's it, and having the calculations done by that. So that's why they did that. It's really a good idea. But now the only problem is trying to run that kind of stuff inside a virtual machine, so you're essentially virtualizing virtualization. It doesn't really work that well. And so that's why I'm thinking there's this many problems with this. Now I'm sure the engineers over at Comodo will figure something out in order to make it play nice with virtual machines. Maybe they won't. We'll have to wait and see. But nevertheless, this is kind of a bug report I'm going to give them too. I'll fill one out if that already hasn't been filled out by someone else, and hopefully they'll get it fixed. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to show you what's happening today, so that if you guys see anyone else testing this on YouTube, you can't really take their tests their tests aren't worth anything, because the sandbox is not functioning in a virtual environment right now. I have tried this in both Virtualbox and VMware. We're going to do it in today. Yes, I have VMware now. Moving on up, people. None of that Virtualbox garbage anymore. It's not that bad, but nevertheless, VMware tends to work a little bit better and have better virtualization capabilities and better hardware stuff. But that's a different review. So what we're going to do today is, if you've looked here, I do not have it up to date whatsoever. The reason being is we're not testing out the antivirus here. This demonstration is just going to show you basically how this piece of malware right here interacts with a virtual environment, and we're just going to see how it runs. I'm not going to try and explain it anymore. We're just going to start getting into the test. Enough babbling. Okay, so let me extract my piece of malware. Now what we're going to do first is I'm going to manually run this in the Comodo sandbox. So I'm going to tell it to manually do it. So I'm going to right click on it like I just did, and then we're going to run in Comodo sandbox. Now you can see right up here, it's already virtualizing applications, and right down here, application isolated. And that's perfect. That's what we want to see. So now if I open up Comodo here and go over to the sandbox and hit reset, well, first of all, I'll show up. There we go. Virus scope. Suspicious file found. We click clean. Let me get out of this here. And boom, it's gone. Perfect. That was the way the program is supposed to function. That is how Comodo is intended to work, especially version 8. So what we're going to do now is let me go ahead and reset the sandbox here. Let's go back over here, reset. Okay, wonderful. Let's go in here, delete this. Okay, good. Now we're back to square one again. So let's throw this in the recycle bin and extract another one. Except for this time, what we're going to do is we're just going to double click on it, because normally that's what you do when you install an application. Now this automatic sandbox is supposed to kick in here. So we'll see if we see any sort of isolation of programs up there. And I'll also open up Task Manager here too, so you can see what's going on in here. Okay. I'll expand it so we can see all the processes here. Perfect. Okay, so we're going to double click on this and see what happens. Okay, so you can see it ran, and it's right there running in RAM. Up here we have two applications that are unrecognized, but yet nothing is being sandboxed. And we so far have no alerts from VirusScope whatsoever. None. So that's kind of the reason why I have removed that test. And I'm not going to do another test of Comodo until they can fix this issue, just because it's really not fair. You can't test an application that's not working properly. I know it's a beta. You got to remember that, so that's kind of why I'm giving it a lot of leeway here. If this was the final version, you better believe I'd put this test out on the internet, because there's no way a final version, something like this, should be released. Even if it doesn't function in a virtual environment, it should function in every single environment in my mind. So then you'd be able to make up your own decision whether you want to use the program or not. But in this case, I removed the test because it's a beta, and as you can see here, there are no active processes in the sandbox whatsoever, and I believe we still have that stuff running. There's another process right there that's malicious, so it looks like it just kind of respawned itself as something else. Could be a different variant of something, who knows, but that's not the point of this test. The point was to show you that Comodo does not work in any sort of virtualized environment. So that's going to be it for this video. I'll go ahead and upload this, and hopefully Comodo will get this fixed soon. I'll go ahead and check for bug reports too. If not, fill one out. So see you next video, guys.